Tonight we gather in celebration of the greatest mystery of our faith, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. This week has been, and this night is a journey, a sacred passage from despair of the cross to the celebration of the empty tomb, where the new light of Christ awaits to transform us. In the quiet of this holy night, we stand at the threshold of a new dawn. Jesus has come not only to save us, but to enable us to be fully alive. Let these words resonate within you like a bell tonight. Fully alive. The new light of Christ is transforming us. When I was about 20, I read a book that changed my life, like many of us did, I'm sure. This book for me was Athanasius' Life of Antony, which may not be the same book that you read. But I'm guessing we all have these books. I was raised in a tradition where salvation was sort of a binary zero-sum game. You were either in or you were out. And given that I was in the middle of some pretty developmentally appropriate pushing of every boundary I could come across, there were times when that came ringing back in my ears, and I thought maybe I was on the wrong side of that equation. I was mired in this theology that said that the best we mortals could hope for was a clean slate and a sort of grumpy checking off the list to let us into heaven. This little book showed me a beautiful nuance to that plan, that Jesus became like we are so that we could become like Jesus. God took on the fullness of our humanity so that we could grow into the likeness of God, that likeness, that God in whose image we were already made. This new light of Christ is transforming us. Now, I got to tell you that Christmas and Easter, when I came home from school, hit differently for me. Now, I was in my home church in my hometown, so the theology and the environment were very much the same. But I had changed. That year, for the first time, I really had this sense of Christmas and Easter being connected in this new way, and that together they were this great love story. The story of God's complicated and complete love for every aspect of our humanity. We didn't just get a clean slate. We were given the opportunity to shine with the light of God. This whole biblical story was broken open to me in a new way after this book. God became as we are completely and took the worst treatment that we had to offer and kept on loving us in a way that lets us too endure the worst that life has to offer and the worst that we can dish out. God made us to bear this light and continues to show us how. Now, out of the depth of Good Friday and Holy Saturday, Jesus ascends to us with an amplified message of Maundy Thursday. Love one another. Be the light. We didn't make this new fire by ourselves tonight. God made the elements of the fire, and we chose to put them together to illuminate this holy night. The whole became bigger than the sum of its parts, and the same is true for us. The new light of Christ is transforming us. Living in this new light of Christ is a personal invitation to each of us. It means allowing God's radiant joy to permeate our lives, to lift us from the day to day and to guide us in our journeys. Now, this kind of joy that Christ brings to us isn't fleeting or superficial. It's that profound joy of knowing that we are loved beyond measure and that we have been given a hope that transcends every trial and a life that conquers death itself. The new lot of Christ is transforming us. So now the only trick for us is to embrace this joy, this light. 3 ways to do this come to mind. I'm sure there are many others. 1, we embrace this joy by allowing ourselves to be loved by God. To allow ourselves to encounter the risen Christ who calls each of us by name and fills us with this joy and this light. We let the resurrection be a personal encounter for each of us and for us together, and to spill over into every aspect of our life. The second thing that we can do to embrace this joy is to witness to this love to other people. Joy is contagious and it's meant to be shared. When we live out the joy of the resurrection, we become beacons of hope to those around us. Our lives become a testament to the transformative power of God's love, regardless of what happens on this earth, inviting others into the warmth and the illumination of that light. The third thing we can do is to give ourselves permission to find joy in the everyday. The incarnation and the resurrection teach us that there is no part of our life that is too mundane or too ordinary for God's love. In our work, in our relationships, in our challenges, in our triumphs, we can find the joy of Christ illuminating our path, reminding us that every moment can be a gift and can be lived in the light. Gathered around this new flame tonight, I hope and pray that we can see this as a growing symbol of the joy that Christ offers us. And may it not just dispel the gloom, but fill our hearts with God's radiance. The new lot of Christ is transforming us. Amen.